NBA now. Paul George returned to Indiana for the first time last night. Didn't exactly receive a warm welcome, which by my voice should let you know he was booed mercilessly. Wasn't a great game for George, just 12 points on 3 of 14, but he did hit 2 late free throws to help ice the win for OKC. Here's George after the game.
I understood what the environment was going to be coming into it, so it wasn't a surprise. And my teammates did a great job of helping me battle this one tonight. Just kept everything within that that rectangle out there, and just trusted in my guys.
Hey Nick, they got the win. Were you impressed with the Thunder last night?
No.
Okay.
No, I was really concerned with the Thunder last night. Like, CeCe made an interesting point off the air yesterday during the show that sometimes we focus too much on these shows on negative stuff. We, instead of building guys up, talking about some of the good stories, we talk about this guy's not any good, this guy's not any good, this team stinks. And
that being said,
so I tried to keep that in mind when we were thinking about what we were going to do today on the show, just kind of in commentary in general, because I think it's a good point, especially early in the morning. People want to be optimistic, happy. So this morning, I knew we were going to talk about the Thunder. I was like, man, I'd like to find something to be like, yeah, but here's the thing. Man, there ain't nothing I can find aside from the fact they got that win. I understand Indiana's a good team this year. You'd say, oh, a road win in Indiana. They got this road win in Indiana because Steven Adams was awesome. Alex Sabrina's played one of the better games he's ever played. Yes. Like, their stars, Russ, George, Melo, combined to go 10 for 45. That's 22.2% from the field. Their 3 stars, 10 for 45. None of them had a good game. And it is a trend now. We are almost 30 games in, and these guys haven't gotten any better at playing together. It'd be one thing if it was like, okay, they're still herky-jerky, but they have moments of it. We're not even seeing stretches where it's like, oh, that's what they could be.
So is the key word there together? If you were coaching this team, would you just maybe separate them? Because together, there's no success. Could you divvy the minutes up a little bit so maybe they're not all on the court at the same time? Because clearly that's not working.
No, we talked about that yesterday. Would Melo embrace being the 6th man? Because Paul George is a superstar. Westbrook is a superstar. Between George and Westbrook last night, they had 9 turnovers. So aesthetically, not a pretty game. I don't think that would work. It's easy to say because we saw in Cleveland, Dwayne Wade, he was a starter, and J.R. Smith came in for. I don't see a player that's better to start in OKC. So you just can't. You only got 12 players. You got to put 5 out there to start the game. And the positive thing from it, Nick, is they are an elite defensive team.
Yeah,
now,
true.
We would have not even thought that these 3 players coming together, they would be elite defensively. But OKC, that's what they are this year. So that's your morning spin on it.
Yeah.
They're positive.
You're
I mean,
right.
that's the positive thing. They are great defensively. And why should you be encouraged? Because that's the hardest part of the game to play. The offense, the isolation, because that's what they do. Dribble, pick and roll, ISO, that part right there, the coach needs to change. They need a more move the ball, a more motion type of offense, or play fast. And when they play fast, Russ turns the ball over too much. So as a coach, if I was making adjustments, I would make sure that they realize they're playing great on the defensive end. They are an elite team on the defense. But what's going to be the formula offensive? And because we can't continue just to be a ISO one-on-one team.
To CeCe's point, they're top 3 defense in the NBA right now. And that is something no one saw coming. I think people thought they would struggle. I didn't know you. First of all, I didn't know you knew it, but I'm delighted you do. But no one saw them being a top 10 defensive team, much less top 3. To Jenna's point about the minutes, even if Melo has to start, which I don't think he does, but regardless, this is where Billy Donovan could stagger the substitution pattern better. If these guys are having trouble playing with all 3 together on the court, you could, if you staggered your substitutions, make it aside from the very beginning.
But they're not having trouble playing together. They've had 9, 10-point leads this year that they've lost the game.
Right.
So
CeCe, but they've lost.
Did they get the lead playing together?
No, but that's my point. Where they've struggled is at the end of games when all three are on the court.
But they got the lead with all guys on the court.
No, I don't think that's accurate. I think they got the lead when the one guy's on the bench, when it's two of the three. Second and third quarter, when guys are resting. In the fourth quarter, when you're playing everybody, these guys just listen. There's 33 guys in the NBA. Show this, please. 33 guys in the NBA taking at least 15 shots a game. Who are the 34 guys? Pardon me. Who are the three worst? It's now the three worst are these guys from field goal percentage standpoint. Billy Donovan talked about it after the game. He said he doesn't think guys are forcing shots. He thinks the problem is these guys, for the first time in their career, are going 5-6 possessions without touching the ball. Then when they do touch the ball, they're open, and it's unfamiliar to them. If you staggered their minutes a little bit better, they would go fewer possessions. So
you're going to stagger it now in the fourth quarter? Because they're leading. They had 10-point leads. They lost that. So now what are you going to do in the fourth quarter? It's 12 minutes. You got three superstars. All you got to do is manage the last 12 minutes.
Your point there is a totally fair one, which is if my solution is stagger the minutes so it's more often than not two of the three on the court, does that mean, forget 12 minutes, the last 4 minutes of the game, one of those guys is going to be on the bench? You didn't bring them in to not have them all there at the end of the game.
Put Paul George on the bench, he leaves as a free agent. You put Melo on the bench, he's got $28 million guaranteed next year, and he's not happy.
Right. No, and Russ obviously can't be on the bench. But what I know right now is 3 of 17, 4 of 14, 3 of 14. Like, that's
shooting. That's them shooting the ball.
Right, but don't you think part of the reason they're shooting poorly is because they're not playing in rhythm, because they're not comfortable together, and that they've got to figure out a way in the meantime? Like the season, we're 27 games in now. You don't have a ton of time to do a lot of tinkering before you...
They have not shot the ball well. And if they played up and down and took some easier shots compared to... They're taking the toughest shots, too. All right? They're shooting a lot of threes. Paul George shooting 7 threes last night. It don't make sense. He took 13 shots, 7 threes. Like, stop.
So not a Billy Donovan problem.
Let's blame the coach.
I'm not blaming the coach, but the coach's job is...
These guys are the 3 worst shooters. You saw the graphic. I mean, I believe America can read. All right? These guys have been at the top level shooters. They're not shooting well. Now it's the coach's fault. Interesting.
The coach's job is to
Coming up, which team has a better shot at the playoffs?